Hello, happy Friday, and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show, where we talk to you about a cool thing that we've been testing out here in PC Labs. I'm Tom Brandt, this is Sasha Segan. Today for you we have the Republic Wireless Relay, which is a cool device if you're a not so cool parent to give your kids. We'll explain why that is.
It's a walkie-talkie.
Why you might still want to use it, and we'll do lots of walkie-talkie jokes and voice things like that. So if you are just joining us on the Facebook live stream, thank you very much for watching. Type in some questions or comments in the bottom of the screen and we will be sure to address them while we are talking. And then if you're watching this later somewhere else on the internet, come back at next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, where we will have another One Cool Thing for you. In the meantime, let's talk about this Republic Wireless Relay.
Yeah, so this is a device. So there's a lot of parents out there who want their kids to be connected, whether to their parents or to their friends, but are trying to avoid screens. Screen time and screen addiction, and especially things involving YouTube and social media are really just boogeymen for parents right now, especially parents of kids in kind of the 5 to 10 or 5 to 12 age range. So Republic Wireless, which is a smaller wireless carrier, came up with this product, which is a screenless walkie-talkie.
As you can see, no screens anywhere.
Yeah, that kids and parents can use to communicate with each other, or that kids can use to communicate with their friends, as long as the friends also have the little walkie-talkies. And this enables, it's much more secure than a phone, because with a phone, anyone can call you, anyone can text you, you can call or text anyone, generally. It doesn't have apps or social media to get worried about as a parent. And for kids who are just starting to have some freedom to roam the neighborhood, especially in the suburbs where they may just be like 7 or 8 crossing the street to their friend's house, going down the block on their bike, this is a entry-level communication device.
And it seems like this is the idea of a wireless walkie-talkie is not new, but they've previously been kind of cumbersome, or they've been built into phones. Many of you probably remember Sprint Nextel. This is really looks to be entirely new and frankly kind of easy to use, right?
Yeah, it's really easy to use. It's really cute. So a parent has to initially set it up. And what happens is a parent verifies their device through a smartphone app. And now the parent's smartphone can also communicate over to their kid's device.
Okay.
And then on the device, on the smartphone app, you can set up virtual channels, like walkie-talkie channels, made of groups of devices. So one could be the parent talking to the kids. One could be a kid and their friends. And the kid can switch between these channels using the side button on the walkie-talkie.
Now here's the question that I'm sure many of you have, but if you have other questions, let us know. Do you need Republic Wireless service to use this, or can you use it with, can you get an add-on, can you just subscribe to this on Republic,
yes,
but still have another plan?
Yes, the devices are independent of any cell phone plan.
Okay.
The service for these devices, unlimited, costs $6.99 a month.
Per device?
Per device.
Okay.
The devices cost, I believe it's $99 for one, $149 for two. There's multiple packs, et cetera, et cetera.
So not a huge cash outlay, as you'd expect. This is low features.
Yeah. And now there's a couple of other things it does
Okay.
other than walkie-talkie. Well, first of all, let me show you the walkie-talkie. This is how the walkie-talkie works.
Hey.
See?
So there's a slight delay, but again, you're not going to be using it in the same room.
Yeah,
probably,
it's going over this. It's going over either the Sprint or T-Mobile cell phone network,
Okay.
depending on what has better coverage where you are.
Okay, and no SIM cards required though.
There is a SIM card.
Oh, there
it's
is
in
a
here.
SIM card.
It comes
Okay.
with the SIM card in it.
But you don't know which network it's using.
Well, it's the Republic. It's a Republic Wireless SIM card.
Okay.
Republic
Okay.
makes the decision
Okay.
for you.
Got it.
Okay. So, so it does a couple of other things. As I said, you can switch between channels. It also has a funny voice generator. Here, let me see if I can get that up.
Copy Toucan is on relay. Switching to echo.
Okay, here we go. Now it's going to make funny voices. So
Oh,
little
but this is not a transmit thing. This is just for you to play with.
Yeah, little kids love this. We
Okay.
tried this
Yeah.
with some 6, 7-year-olds. They
Yeah.
thought it was terrific.
Yeah.
In the future, it's going to have, it's going to be able to store music. You see, there's a headphone jack here. So it'll be able to store a playlist full of music on the device and then let you play it back over headphones or through the little speaker. And where that becomes useful is not just walking down the street, but a lot of parents like to put their small children to bed using music or sounds.
Mozart is great
With-
for the development of.
No, as
No?
an actual do you have children?
No, I don't.
have children, do you?
I've always heard that Mozart is good for kids.
Okay, no. So most kids have an album that they like to fall asleep to.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and so you can put that album on this device, put the device in their room, it plays back in a quiet way on a thing that doesn't have a screen. They're not tempted to pick it up and play a video game, etc., etc.
And that's something that you can set up, or once that becomes available, you will be able to set that up on the app.
Through the parents,
Right.
through the parents' phone. And then further down the road, they are working on Google Assistant functionality, so that you can press the button and it'll answer Google Assistant queries and it'll play music that Google Assistant supports and be able to connect to and talk to Google Assistant.
And that's something that hopefully they would work out the privacy and permissions concerns there, because if the kid can do that, then you're getting into a realm of they might be able to,
Well, all of this has to be enabled on the parent's app.
Oh, okay.
So the parent controls what functionality this has, who it can talk to, et cetera, et cetera.
So they're planning on adding features if you want them, but if you just want it as a walkie-talkie, you can use it.
It can stay as a walkie-talkie, exactly. You don't have to add the new channels. You
Right.
don't have to add, because they call the features channels, and you would get to the features by pressing the channel button.
Okay, and so there's 2 buttons here, it looks like, on the side.
And one's a volume button, and then the other one is an on-off or channel button.
Okay.
And so now, the way this works, once again, as a walkie-talkie, now let's say I had 4 of these, okay? If I started talking, oh right, it's on the echo, it's on the
different
echo
mode.
mode. If I started talking, all the rest of them on the channel would hear that. And then it's a group chat. It's
Okay.
not necessarily an individual chat unless you set up a channel between 2 individual devices.
And can you change channels on this device, or does the parent need to do that through the app?
So you can switch which channel you're in, but you can't switch who's in the channel.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
something that the parents of the various devices need to control. Once again, this is not for teenagers.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This is for kids between the ages of 5 and 10 or 5 and 11
Yeah.
who the parents should be supervising what they're doing.
Right. And for something like it's time for dinner, or push this button if you're in trouble, it seems to me like to be good use cases. for
Right.
this.
I went down to Republic Wireless's headquarters to talk to the development team about the use cases and where they saw this as being useful and what they were doing. And I think it's very interesting, and it's kind of important that Republic Wireless is in Raleigh, North Carolina. And Raleigh, North Carolina is a very suburban and exurban metro area. So there's a lot of single-family houses, there's a lot of backwoods behind the houses, there's a lot of very traditional cul-de-sac type neighborhoods. And so a lot of the use cases that I heard of were things like, my two boys went fishing in the creek behind our house, and they're 7 years old, and it got dark, and I couldn't find them, and I was trying to call them in for dinner, and I was panicking, and that's a case where this would really come in handy.
Now,
Or
if you're fishing, what if you drop this in the creek?
so this is water resistant but not waterproof.
Okay.
It'll work for a short immersion in water, but not for getting lost in water for a long period of time.
And presumably, these holes here there's a lot of holes for the
Yeah,
speaker,
yeah.
so that there's
As I
water
said,
ingress issues.
It's water resistant but not waterproof. Okay.
And now, what about battery life?
Battery life is not one of the strengths of these devices, and that's a little disappointing. Basically, it will run out of battery if you leave it alone for 2 or 3 days. And it does not have very long standby time.
Okay.
So you kind of want to keep it on a charger when it's not being used.
So when your kid comes home from school, you tell him or her to put it on the charger.
Right.
What is there you set it on a charger, or you plug it in?
There's a little magnetic cable that attaches to the back, and it's
Okay.
got a USB-A plug at the other end of it, so it'll work with any USB charger. And maybe you have a table near the door that the kid puts these down on when they come in, and that's how it works. Now, I tried it with my own daughter, who is 12, and she has her own phone.
So she's at the upper limit of age for
And
usefulness.
she wouldn't be like, she has her own phone.
Right.
She has to have her own phone because she keeps in touch with her friends, and she keeps in touch with a lot of school activities through Google Hangouts, and she needs some of those apps. But she really liked using this with various extracurricular activities she was doing involving her neighborhood friends. And meeting up with her neighborhood friends, having them, for instance, play hide and seek around the neighborhood. When they were distributing a neighborhood newsletter, they divided into two groups and were walkie-talkieing back and forth between the two groups.
No, change page forward. I'm sorry. This is like when they're sending it out.
Yeah. So it was like, what street are you on?
Yeah,
No,
right,
what street
right,
are you on?
right.
And one of the things that's cool about this, as opposed to texting or calling on a phone, is the loud immediacy of it. With calling on a phone, there's a whole bunch of buttons you have to press,
Yep.
and then you have to wait, and then somebody has to pick up or not pick up, and it's kind of a complicated thing. And with texting, you have to look at it. Sometimes you don't hear the little ding. Sometimes the ding is too little. You have to pause what you're doing to type. This is very immediate. And the signal in here is...
Yeah, so...
Okay, yeah.
So
right, it's still in echo mode.
Oh, okay.
It was
so
echoing.
This is actually, potentially a serious issue where you want to make sure that, if your kid is using this in an emergency situation, that they don't have it on echo
mode
or voice change mode, because that could take some time away. That could be an issue.
Now you can still, from the parent app, GPS track the device.
I was going to ask about location. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So even if it's in echo mode,
Right.
You can tell where it is at that
Yeah.
time.
And that's an issue that you have to kind of decide for yourselves.
And
if you're a parent who wants to.
The thing is, so Republic is a very responsive company, and they are constantly upgrading this platform. It is a very flexible server-based software platform. So, for instance, if parents say, I want the ability to send through an emergency message that would blast through whatever channel the walkie-talkie is on, that is a feature that they could add.
Now, it sounds like there's a lot of features in the works.
Right.
Should you buy this now, or should you, if you want to wait for things like that, should you wait? Or who's going to buy this now, basically?
So who's going to buy it now are the people who are interested in the basic walkie-talkie functionality. And that is, in general, I think, parents who have children largely between the ages of 5 and 9 who, as I said, are just starting to spend a little bit of time, a little bit out of the house. And for various privacy and privacy-related reasons, harassment-related reasons, screen-related reasons, they don't want to give these kids a real phone.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
They want to be able to stay in touch with these kids. I think there is a definite niche there. And the major competing products actually are all wearables.
Right.
And the wearables are all a little dorky.
Yeah.
They are more dorky than this. I had several kids tell me that this is a cool-looking toy.
It is,
This is
indeed. It looks like a toy versus a watch, which some kids might not like.
Watches, which tend to look a little bit like ankle monitors.
Right.
They tend to look a little bit like the kids are under house arrest.
Yeah. So now, the one thing that we haven't done yet is give this a rating.
Right.
Are we going to do that at some point, or?
We should take some questions first.
Oh yes, let's take some questions.
So I guess the main advantage for me with a wearable would be just it's not as easy to lose. Like, I guess, is there any sort of wrist strap for this or something like that? Like, they're just expected to have it in their pocket?
Yeah, the kids are expected to have it in their pockets. There are some rubberized cases. There's a case with a loop that you can clip to a backpack. But yeah, the kid is basically expected to have it in their pocket. As you said, the advantage of the wearable is that it's worn. The disadvantage of the wearable as I've found when testing wearables, is that sometimes the kid's wrist gets sweaty and then they take it off and stuff it at the bottom of their bag. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it is a distinct advantage of wearables that they are worn.
And in addition, this isn't necessarily a cheap throwaway item. I mean,
Right.
it costs
It's
$150
$75
for
to
two.
$100, yeah.
So this is definitely something to be considered.
Yeah.
If your kid loses things a lot.
Right. At
Which
least
many kids do.
At least that's the GPS tracker.
Yeah,
But yeah. So the reason we haven't rated it yet is that I'm waiting for what I considered to be the final functionality, because these are orderable, but they haven't shipped.
Ah, okay.
You can buy them online now, but they're not shipping until mid-June.
Oh, okay.
And the functionality to construct custom channels in the parental app and to communicate from the parent's app to the devices isn't coming until next week, which is fine because they haven't shipped yet. But I don't want to rate it until
Right.
I can verify the parental app functionality, which hasn't come into play
Right.
yet.
So what you should do then is check back in a few weeks, and we'll have a final rating, because I don't imagine that these things are going to sell out, right?
I mean,
or might they?
yeah, no, I don't think they're going to sell out.
I think it's a fairly niche case.
Yeah,
So if you're
yeah.
interested in this, and if this applies to you, then wait a little bit, just so that we can tell you if that functionality works for the channels.
Exactly. So, so this is it's the Republic Wireless Relay. It is an unusual device. It's a niche device, but I think there are a lot of parents out there who are looking for this kind of device. If you are a parent of a child between the ages of about 5 and 10, you should take a look at this and consider it. Also consider comparing it to, as you said, some of the child-centric wearables out there.
Any phones that you should compare this to?
So,
it's not a phone, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the best child-centric wearable right now is the LG Gizmo Gadget on Verizon. The major downside of the Gizmo Gadget is that it is a Verizon exclusive, so you have to have Verizon to use it.
Yeah.
But the Gizmo Gadget is the best wearable out there right now. In terms of phones, I mean, I would say that children should be getting flip phones, not smartphones. And that's another problem, in that there aren't a lot of quality flip phones out there anymore.
Indeed, and many of them are geared towards elderly people who have problems.
The two that I would recommend are the Kyocera Cadence LTE on Verizon and the unlocked Nokia 3310 when used with AT&T. But for Sprint and T-Mobile users right now, there is no voice-only phone that we recommend. Sprint and T-Mobile do not have any good choices in that product category. So
this makes this even more valuable.
families on Sprint and T-Mobile may really want to look here.
Why is there that void in the market?
So I did a story on this in April about why is it so hard to make good voice calls nowadays. And the issue is really that voice calling, or things that don't use data, are extremely low profit and low revenue for the carriers. And all the carriers want to raise what is called ARPU right now. And that is what improves their stock prices. That is what improves, what their investors get. Average revenue per user.
Average revenue per user.
Right. All the carriers want to raise ARPU, not lower ARPU. And because voice services without data are considered essentially the baseline of usage right now, voice services are extremely low ARPU. So voice customers actually drag down the average profitability of the carrier as a whole and make the carrier look less appealing to investors in the stock market. So you get situations where especially the low-cost carriers like Sprint and T-Mobile, who may have lower data ARPU than Verizon does, may not want to be dragging their ARPU down further in the face of the New York Stock Exchange by attracting a whole bunch of $15 a month voice customers.
Right. So basically what that tells you is really the only company, or one of the only companies to even attempt this, would be Republic, because they're maybe not as worried about
Yeah,
those
because
concerns.
Republic is a niche company. that is kind of laser focused on the products they do. I mean, there's a couple of companies out there that are niche companies, like Consumer Cellular is another one. They have a couple of flip phones.
All of which makes this look even more appealing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, as we were saying, the Republic Wireless Relay is great for kids between 5 and 10 years old.
Yep.
And the service costs $6 a month.
$6.99.
$6.99 a month.
$7 a month.
Plus about $75 or so for the devices. All in all, not a bad choice if you want to make sure that your kids have a little bit of freedom, but you can still contact them quickly.
Exactly.
Check back soon at pcmag.com for our full review and rating in the next couple weeks once we have the additional functionality on that Republic Wireless app. And in the meantime, we would like to wish you a happy holiday weekend, and we will see you back here at 10 a.m. Eastern Time next Tuesday when we will have yet another One Cool Thing for you.
Don't eat it.
Oh, you don't eat it? What? It's not edible?